Hey there, welcome to Fun Learn Talks, the podcast where we break down business, technology, and history into stories that sparks your mind and makes you smarter. I'm Anu, and we explore ideas that shaped the world from empires and entrepreneurs to code and culture. If you love connecting dots and asking why things are the way they are, you're in the right place. Let's get started with today's story. Imagine walking through a lush, tropical paradise where the scent of cocoa and vibrant colors hang in the air like a natural tapestry. Let's journey into the fascinating world of cocoa, a plant whose history and cultivation are as rich and complex as its flavor. In the heart of Victorian England, curiosity about exotic plants was flourishing, partly thanks to the grand structures like the newly built Palm House and the budding Temperate House at the Royal Botanic Gardens at Kew. It was here that botanists delved deep into the secrets of tropical species, including the illustrious cocoa plant scientifically known as Theobroma cacao or food of the gods. This name, given by the Swedish naturalist Carl von Linnaeus in 1753, hints at the divine delight that cocoa has stood for throughout history. Let's pause for a second and picture the cocoa plant as described by Richard, a character enthralled by this evergreen beauty. He depicted its drooping bright green leaves and its unique way of bearing fruit all year round. The cocoa pods, described as elongated ovals, much like a vegetable marrow, grow directly off the trunk, a striking contrast to the European fruit trees where fruits dangle from fine branches. But Richard's fascination wasn't just scientific. His vision of cocoa plantations was painted by the vivid accounts he read in magazines like Belgravia, depicting them as enchanting tropical paradises. One particularly captivating description portrayed these plantations as miniature forests, aglow with thousands of golden lamps, the taller trees bursting into a sea of crimson flowers in March, creating a spectacle that resembled a grand natural temple. This is where things take a turn to the practical side of cocoa farming. The harvesting of these precious pods required skill. Workers used long knives to break open the thick outer rind, revealing as many as 30 to 40 beans embedded in a soft, pinkish acid pulp. These seeds were then scooped out, dried in the sun, transitioning from a pale crimson to a rich almond brown, ready to be transformed into the chocolate we cherish. But Richard could hardly imagine how deep the roots of cocoa cultivation ran. Let that sink in. 3 millennia have passed since the Olmec, the earliest known civilization in the Americas, first domesticated the wild cacao tree. From the humid lowland forests and savannas of the Mexican Gulf Coast, the word cacao, thought to be pronounced as cacawa by the Olmecs, embarked on a journey through cultures. As cocoa cultivation spread, the Maya, advancing this legacy, not only savored it in a foaming hot spicy drink enjoyed by the rich, but also in a more humble form. A starchy porridge like cool soup mixed with maize and sometimes spiced with chili, consumed by the common folk. The significance of cocoa in Mayan culture is deeply etched into their pottery, where images of the cacao god reign supreme, illuminating the profound reverence they held for this plant. Interestingly enough, Mayan aristocrats were often buried with opulent provisions for the afterlife, including ornate jars filled with cocoa and its flavorings, showcasing the luxurious status cocoa held across ages. So, next time you enjoy a piece of chocolate, think of it as a bite of history, a taste of the divine, nurtured by centuries of culture and care. Isn't it fascinating how a simple pot transformed into a symbol of luxury and comfort? As the narrative unfolds, picture this striking scene from the 8th century AD depicted on a Mayan vase. Amidst an act of human sacrifice, a woman is seen calmly transferring cocoa drink from one jar to another, working to build up that loved frothy foam. It's a vivid tableau of the integral role chocolate once played in ancient ceremonies. Fast forward to the late 15th century when Christopher Columbus embarked on his fourth voyage and stumbled upon an array of items on the island of Guanaja near the Honduran mainland. On August 15, 1502, Columbus seized some very large canoes that were Mayan trading ships. Amongst their cargo cotton, clothing, and maize were these peculiar almonds, as Ferdinand Columbus' son called them. The locals valued these little brown pellets so highly that the crew observed them scrambling to retrieve any that dropped, treating them as if they were precious gems. This perplexing discovery left the Europeans puzzled about the true worth of what we now know as cocoa beans. Then come the Spanish conquistadors in 1519, who soon recognized the value the Aztecs placed on these beans. Imagine this. In the grand Aztec society, cocoa wasn't just a lavish indulgence, but actually used as currency. An eye opening notion given the modern expression, money doesn't grow on trees. Under the reign of Emperor Moctezuma, these beans were so precious that they were stored by the thousands and used to pay tributes. Interestingly enough, the emperor hoarded almost 1,000 million cocoa beans. Just let that sink in. The going rate ranged from daily necessities to human lives. A rabbit could be bought for 10 beans, a tolerably good slave for about 100 beans, and, curiously, a night with a prostitute cost as few as 8 beans. Chillingly, the cocoa bean played a central role in another facet of Aztec culture: religious rituals, including human sacrifices. They believed that the daily sacrifice of war prisoners was essential to keep the universe in balance. During these horrific rites, the hearts of slaves, chosen for their physical perfection to represent the gods on earth, were cut out while still alive. As we approach the climax of one such ritual, captured vividly by Spanish Dominican friar Diego de Duran in his 1581 work, The History of the Indies of New Spain, the selected slave was expected to face his fate with heroic courage. If his bravery faltered, he was administered a potent concoction, a chocolate drink mixed with the blood of previous victims and other ingredients to render him nearly unconscious. From these ghastly rituals to the royal courts of Europe, the cocoa bean's journey continues. Upon reaching Spain, the cocoa bean was initially consumed in the traditional South American way. Soon, the Spanish court adapted the recipe, substituting corn and chilies with sugar and occasionally vanilla or cinnamon, refining the flavor to suit their palates. This adaptation led to the creation of elaborate chocolate pots designed specifically to handle this rich concoction. Reflecting on chocolate's extensive history, we learn that by 1664, in Madrid, an elaborate cocoa preparation involved 100 toasted cocoa beans ground into a fine powder, then extravagantly mixed with sugar, vanilla pods, chili pepper, aniseed, white roses, cinnamon, almonds, hazelnuts, and achiote powder to impart a red color. This rich blend was then formed into a cake or block from which the drink was made, showcasing chocolate's evolution from a precious currency and ritualistic component to a beloved culinary delight in Europe. Isn't it fascinating how the story of chocolate intertwines with layers of history from ancient rituals to royal indulgence? Let's keep unraveling these layers as we explore more about this luxurious artifact that has enthralled humanity for centuries. That's it for today's episode on Fun Learn Talks, where stories from business, technology, and history keep your curiosity alive. If you enjoyed the journey, make sure to follow, rate, or share it with a fellow curious mind. And hey, we'd love to hear from you. Drop a comment or connect with us online. I'm Anu, and I'll catch you next time, right here on Fun Learn Talks. Until then, keep learning, keep wondering.